New Jersey woman's story of survival and resilience will no doubt inspire you today.
Yeah, Nasim Rashad miraculously survived being hit by a car and run over 3 times.
My goodness.
The trauma left her feeling physically and mentally broken, but on her road to recovery, she realized the day that almost ended her life actually helped her discover her true strength.
Yeah, she documents a journey in a memoir called The Unexpected Benefits of Being Run Over. Nasim Rashad joins us now. Thanks so much for being with us.
Hello, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
All right, it's our pleasure. So let's talk about this. What happened? You call this your unbreakable day. So let's go back to that day and talk about how it happened and what happened afterward.
So it's a little ridiculous. It was a gorgeous day like today, and I was in my town, South Orange, New Jersey, walking across the street in a pedestrian crosswalk when a car turned and hit me. And when the car hit me, it stopped for a moment, and then it accelerated. I went flying, back flying on the pavement. The car drove over me, and then the car reversed over me.
Oh, gosh.
Yep, and then the car went forward and drove over me a third time.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Nasim, we're looking at these pictures right now, and it looks like it must have been a very difficult recovery process. But it wasn't just physical for you. It was also mental. If you can talk a little more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the physical would have almost been easier. So miraculously, I was run over, 3 times with the tires over me 5 times, but I didn't break any bones.
Wow.
So I know, it's crazy. So I actually was never even admitted to the hospital. They went in.
What?
I know. So I came home from the hospital, without any broken bones, but I was completely broken in so many ways. I couldn't open my eyes, I couldn't move, physically my body was raw like a burn patient. I couldn't, bear the touch of my kids hugging me. I couldn't do anything, not even my iPhone recognized me. I was completely unrecognizable. And, I liked the person that had woken up, Monday morning when this happened. And so, the next day when I went home, that person was nowhere to be found. And it took a really long time for me to accept that, my brain and my operating system would never be the same.
Wow.
And part of that acceptance was saying, you know what, I have the ability to make this a happy story. I get to choose how I think about this moment and how my family thinks about this moment. And which is why we decided to celebrate May 21st, the day of the accident, as a holiday, as Unbreakable Day.
It's interesting as you say that, because you talk about this incredible growth from that moment. But I'm curious if you could go, because that morning you said you were happy with yourself when you woke up before this accident happened. Obviously, you're happy with yourself now. When you compare now versus then, I mean, is there a progression before accident to now?
Yeah, there absolutely is. I joke that, before the accident, you could have called me no help needed Nasim. I was very happy to do everything on my own. I worked full time, I had 3 kids, juggled life and, had pride in the fact that I did it all myself and never needed help. What I learned from the accident and during the recovery is how important and how wonderful it is to actually accept help and to be vulnerable. At first, when people would come and bring me dinners or want to drive my kids someplace, I was mortified. I was so embarrassed. I'm not I didn't want to be the woman that needed help. But what I slowly started to realize is that the accident didn't just happen to me. It happened to everybody that loved me. And they needed to take an active part in the healing. They needed to find ways to get better and stronger too. And once I started letting people help, it was like this snowball of sharing and, hearing about other people's stories and things they've gone through and celebrating milestones. And I think there was this collective of energy that allowed me to get better and stronger. And for me, that is such a gift to have been able to learn that with, hopefully some runway of life left.
Well, Nassim, we were just looking at these beautiful images of your family, and it seems like a guardian angel was looking out for you.
Something, yeah.
This is just an incredibly inspiring story, and hopefully it just helps one person who's out there watching or listening to this. Thank you so much for sharing it.
Thank you.
And for more inspiration or to purchase her book, The Unexpected Benefits of Being Run Over, you can check out Nassim's Instagram page. Her handle is right there. You see it on your screen.